In a world where injuries to your all-stars may cost you entry into the NBA playoffs, well, at least that's what the Los Angeles Clippers have seen over the past year, with Kawhi Leonard going down to a torn ACL and Paul George going down with a torn ulnar ligament tear in his right elbow, right here. The Clippers have been working consistently and great without their all-star players. The players coming off the bench has given the organization what they need to stay in the playoff hunt. The key players that have picked up the slack for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are Amir Coffey and Terrance Mann. They just bring the attacks to the rim. Then we have Reggie Jackson and his mad dribbling skills. Breaking legs, breaking knees, whatever it is, he's been amazing. And the greatest two-team white men bench player combo over the last 10 years, we have center Isaiah Hartenstein and the three-point specialist Luke Kennard. These guys have been doing so wonderful in their time replacing those needs that Kawhi and Paul George gave us while they were playing. But since we lost them, now this team has had a chance to reestablish their game, have a chance to work, and have chemistry without their all-stars, have a chance to learn plays that will come into fruition and helpfulness in the playoffs, if they get to the playoffs. Then we have President Lawrence Frank and the GM Michael Winger, under the direction of Steve Ballmer, the owner or chairman of the Los Angeles Clippers. I've never heard of that statement. They went out and traded in the deadline for Norman Powell and Robert Covington. Unfortunately, there's a Clipper curse, obviously, that forced Norman Powell to go down pretty much in the first week that he was here. But he'll be back in about 10 days. So we're assuming maybe April 10, maybe April 12, when he's going to come back and play again for the Clippers. This team has struggled throughout all the season without their all-stars. But they've been in the hunt. They've been in the playoff hunt for a long time. They're always either the 8th, 10th, 9th, whatever seed they're in, but they're always in the top 8, 7 seed, whatever it is. And it's a miracle. Or maybe it's we have good players in the Clipper organizations. Whenever the All-Stars are down in a team, the expectations for that team is that they're not going to have a winning season. That is until Lord Beerus said this on April 29, 2022.
Beerus, my lord, is there something you wish to say?
Here it comes.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he's here, he's back, he's our Paul George, and he's ready to play some ball, even on his first freaking game. This was so evident in his comeback game against the Utah Jazz on Tuesday, April 29, 2022, where he, the great one, Paul George, scored 34 points in 31 minutes where he had 6 from 9 in the 3-point line. Three. Where he had 6 assists, where he had 4 steals, just like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, or WCW, whatever it is, I don't care. He had 2 rebounds and 1 block shot. Boy, was this team energized with Paul George's return, especially after being down by so many damn points in the first 3 quarters of the game against the Utah Jazz. There's something about Ty Lue teams that they just want to come back when they're down and make a splash at the end in the 4th quarter. Here, we saw it. We saw this team do it. With Paul George's return in the 3rd quarter, he just went lightning. Started scoring more points than he did in the first half. And when we talk about Ty Lue teams, we have to talk about how great Ty Lue is as a coach. Man, am I shocked how great his teams have been. With Paul George back, with Norman Powell returning in mid-April, the Clippers can definitely move on into the standings somewhere between the 5th or 6th position in the Western Conference. Let's now imagine that they get into the playoffs and the new king of Los Angeles comes back in the playoffs. Kawhi effing Leonard. I got something in my tooth. Oh no, that's my gold tooth. Woo! Now let's imagine they're in the playoffs with Paul George, with Kawhi Leonard, with the traded players of Norman Powell and Covington. The Suns, the Phoenix Suns, Memphis Grizzlies, the Dallas Mavericks. I love you, Mark Cuban, just to let you know I love you, okay? Dallas Mavericks, the Utah Jazz, the Denver Nuggets, or the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to have a hard freaking time beating the Los Angeles Clippers with this set of players playing in the playoffs. Why? Because they're going to be defensive. They're going to be the best defensive team in the playoffs for sure. They have scoring. They have wing players. They can hit 3-pointers. They can hit field goals. And they could score in the paint with the great centers that they have. And the power forwards of Morrison and Covington. Woo! I see the Clippers being in every game that they play in the playoffs. Let's imagine they go all the way down to the Western Conference Championship. All the previous games are going to be going either to game 5, 6, or 7, depending on how many out of games they are. So if they're 5 out of 5 games, they'll probably go 4 or 5 games into that type of round. If the round is up to 7 games, then they're going to go to the 6th or 7th round. Why? Because they're going to be competitive. They're going to be defensive. And they're going to have the chemistry needed because they already have the experience in playoff players. That's important in the postseason. The only team that scares me, in the Western Conference, are the Golden State Warriors because they have better chemistry, in my opinion. They have better chemistry. They have a better duo with Curry and Michaels. Thompson, I should say. I'm thinking of his dad. Man, I could see the Clippers going to the finals. And I could see the Clippers winning it all. Imagine them scaling up with a tandem of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Woo! Pat Beverly, I miss you, but damn, we don't need you like we need Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And I'm talking as a Los Angeles fan. I love the Lakers, and I love the Clippers. I love the Dodgers, and I love my Angels. I love my Kings and my Ducks. I love my Galaxy, and I love my LAFC. I thought they were the fire department, but no, it's LAFC. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, this video was just to show you the importance of an all-star to a team, to the morality, to the chemistry, to the playbook, especially Tyronn Lue's playbook, which predicts defense, offense, running plays, pick and rolls, pick and rolls, pick and rolls. What do you think? Do you think Paul George will have an effect for them when it comes to the standings of the Western Conference Championship for the Los Angeles Clippers? Will Kawhi Leonard come back in the 2022 playoffs? Will the Clippers, if healthy and in full tandem with all their 2 All-Stars missing, will they win the championship this year? No. Let us know in your comment. This has been my take. By the way, I'm Mikey. Just in case you didn't know, I'm freaking Mikey from My Take.